Some families you're born into. Some you find on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. If you were there for Growing Pains, the Seavers were yours. You watched Mike get grounded. You watched Carol ace every test. You watched those kids grow up in real time, right beside your own. That was 1985. Today, every one of them has a story worth hearing. Growing Pains gave us something rare. A family that felt honest in a decade full of polish. What happened to the people behind those faces stayed with me long after the credits rolled. So I went looking. I'd love to know who you used to watch this show with. A parent, a sibling, maybe just the couch and a bowl of cereal. Those small memories are what this channel is built on. Let's start with the youngest Seaver, the one with a scream you could hear 3 rooms away. You heard him before you saw him. That high-pitched Ben Seaver scream cutting through the living room, loud enough to rattle the laugh track. Jeremy Miller was 8 years old when he first walked onto that set. He didn't just play the youngest Seaver. He was the kid who made every family feel complete. The little brother who broke things, blamed someone else, and somehow made you love him more for it. He was the chaos that made the calm worth having. After the show ended in 1992, Miller traded the spotlight for a kitchen. He trained as a chef, built a catering company, and found real joy in cooking for people. Life after the cameras brought its own challenges. He faced them with courage, and the family he'd found on that soundstage never let him face them alone. Alan Thicke stayed in touch, calling every month just to check in. Kirk stepped up too. The Seavers, it turns out, were real. He was 8 when we met him. Today, at 49, Miller is aging with incredible grace. He hosts a podcast, teaches private cooking classes, and still shows up at fan events with the same grin we remember. When someone asks about Alan Thicke, his answer is always the same. He was my other dad. That kind of bond doesn't come from a script. Every family sitcom had the troublemaker. Not every one had someone like Carol Seaver. She was the kid who actually wanted to do her homework. The one who raised her hand first and meant it. For a generation of girls who felt a little too smart for the room, Carol said something important without saying it out loud. She made being the brainy one feel like a gift, not a penalty. Here's something most fans never knew. Tracy almost didn't get the part. Another actress filmed the original pilot, but test audiences felt something was missing, and Gold stepped in. From that moment, Carol belonged to her. She was 16 when the show started. The teenage years under the spotlight brought their own pressures. She faced them, found her strength, and later helped countless others find theirs through speaking and through her book, Room to Grow. Today, at 57, time has only deepened her elegance. Gold won the celebrity edition of Worst Cooks in America in 2022, proving Carol Seaver could learn anything. She's a mother of 4 sons, shows up at fan events with silver hair she wears like a crown, and still gets recognized the moment she walks into a room. Fans say there's still a lot of Carol in her. They're not wrong. And while we're talking about the Seaver family, there's a love story from this show that outlasted the series by more than 3 decades. Somewhere around season 5, Mike Seaver stopped chasing every girl in the hallway. Kate McDonald walked into his life, and he finally stood still. Chelsea Noble was 24 when she stepped onto that set. The chemistry between her and Kirk wasn't acting. They fell in love right there, between takes, and married in 1991. That story isn't finished. It's still going, more than 30 years later. Noble stepped away from Hollywood to build something different. She co-founded the Firefly Foundation, sending terminally ill children and their families to camp. Today, at 61, she still carries the same spark we remember. She chose a life most people in this industry never dare to try. A life lived entirely off camera. Sometimes the most beautiful role is the one nobody sees. He was the kid who showed up at the Seaver front door uninvited, stayed too long, and made every scene better for it. Richard Boner Stabone wasn't the lead. He was Mike Seaver's best friend. And for 4 seasons, Andrew Koenig played him with the kind of loose, natural energy that made you forget he was acting. Every teenager needed a friend like Boner, the one who said the wrong thing at the right time, the one who made your worst ideas feel slightly less dangerous. Koenig came from a family that already knew the spotlight. His father, Walter Koenig, played Chekhov on the original Star Trek. But Andrew carved his own space. He appeared in 25 episodes between 1985 and 1989, then moved on to directing, editing, and activism. He cared deeply about the world beyond the soundstage. He was 17 when he first stood beside Kirk Cameron on that set. Andrew Koenig left us in 2010 at 41. What stays is what he gave us during those 4 seasons. The laughter, the loyalty, the kind of friendship that felt unscripted, even when every word was on the page. If any of these faces are bringing something back for you, I'm right there with you. There are more stories ahead, and honestly, a couple of them caught me off guard. I'd love to hear which ones land for you. Most people met Joanna Kerns in a kitchen on Long Island, holding a coffee mug and keeping the Seavers together. What they didn't know is that before she ever stepped in front of a camera, she was a competitive gymnast. She ranked 14th in the 1968 Olympic trials. Her older sister, Donna de Verona, won gold in swimming at the 1964 Olympics. This was a family built on discipline long before Hollywood came calling. Kerns was 32 when she became Maggie Seaver. For 7 seasons, she gave us a mother who went back to work and never apologized for it. Maggie wrote under the name Maggie Malone at the Long Island Herald and still made it home for dinner. For millions of women watching in the late 80s, that balance wasn't just a storyline, it was permission. After the show, Kerns made a move nobody expected. She stepped behind the camera, not as a side project, as a second career. She's directed episodes of Grey's Anatomy, Pretty Little Liars, This Is Us, and Fuller House. As recently as 2024 and 2025, she was directing episodes of Chicago Med. The woman who played TV's most dependable mom became one of television's most trusted directors. Today, at 73, she wears every year beautifully. She once told an interviewer she hasn't ruled out acting again. But the truth is, she found something she loves even more. And she's still doing it. The youngest face in this family might be the one with the most surprising story of all. She was 6 years old. That's how young Ashley Johnson was when she joined Growing Pains in 1990, stepping into a family that had already been on the air for 4 seasons. Little Chrissy Seaver didn't need a storyline to matter. She just needed to be there. The new baby. The reason the Seavers still had something to look forward to. For viewers, she was the feeling that this family wasn't winding down. It was growing. Most child actors from the early 90s faded from the screen. Ashley Johnson became something else entirely. She trained as a voice actress and landed roles in Recess, Teen Titans, and the Ben 10 franchise. Then came the part that changed everything. In 2013, she provided the voice and motion capture for Ellie in the video game The Last of Us. The performance earned her 2 BAFTA awards for Best Performer. Not nominations, wins. A 6-year-old from a family sitcom grew up to deliver one of the most celebrated performances in gaming history. She followed that with 5 seasons as FBI Specialist Patterson on the NBC drama Blind Spot. She became a founding cast member of Critical Role, the live-streamed Dungeons & Dragons series that built a global fan base and its own animation deal with Amazon. She now serves as president of the Critical Role Foundation. Today, at 42, she radiates the same warmth decades later. The little girl who completed the Seaver family never stopped working. She just found stages no one expected. There was no bigger face on ABC in 1986 than Kirk Cameron's. Mike Seaver wasn't just a character. He was the poster on the bedroom wall, the name in the magazine, the reason Tuesday nights mattered. 2 Golden Globe nominations before he turned 20. For a generation of teenagers, Mike was the older brother who made every bad decision look survivable. He got caught, he got grounded, and he always came back grinning. That's the kind of comfort you don't forget. Cameron was 14 when he started the show. Somewhere between season 5 and the finale, his life changed in ways the cameras never fully captured. He found faith. He found Chelsea Noble on that very set. And he chose a path that took him far from the Hollywood he'd grown up in. He married Noble in 1991. They're still together. 6 children. More than 3 decades. The love story that started on a sitcom soundstage turned out to be the realest thing either of them ever filmed. After Growing Pains, Cameron moved into a world most of his fans didn't follow. He produced faith-based films like Fireproof. He wrote children's books. In 2025, he launched the kids' series Adventures with Iggy and Mr. Kirk. His sister Candace Cameron Bure became a household name on Full House, making the Cameron family one of television's most recognizable. Today, at 55, he carries his story in every line. The teen idol grew up, stepped away from the noise, and built a life on his own terms. Whether or not you followed that turn, the kid who played Mike Seaver gave you something real when you needed it. And there's still one more face from this family you haven't seen yet. The one who changed everything. When the Seavers opened their door one last time, they let in a teenager with nothing. That teenager became the most famous person to ever walk through a sitcom set. What happens when a sitcom opens its front door one last time and lets in the future of cinema? In 1991, Growing Pains was slipping in the ratings. The solution was a 16-year-old kid from Los Angeles with no major credits and a face the camera couldn't look away from. Leonardo DiCaprio walked onto the Seaver set as Luke Brower, a homeless teenager taken in by Mike, who by then had become a substitute teacher. Luke wasn't polished. He wasn't sweet. He was rough, a little lost, and entirely real. For a show built on family warmth, Luke asked a harder question. What happens to the kids who don't have one? DiCaprio was only there for 1 season. But even then, co-star Joanna Kerns noticed something. She later called him especially intelligent and disarming for his age. Here's the part that still gives me chills. When DiCaprio landed the lead in This Boy's Life opposite Robert De Niro, the show could have held him to his contract. Instead, Thicke and the cast got together and said, "Let the kid go." They opened the door a second time. This time, out. What followed is one of the most remarkable careers in film history. What's Eating Gilbert Grape earned him his first Oscar nomination at 19. Then came Romeo plus Juliet. Then Titanic, and everything after it. The Aviator, Blood Diamond, Inception, The Wolf of Wall Street. In 2016, he finally won the Oscar for The Revenant, a moment the entire world had been waiting for. In 2025, he starred in Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another, which won Best Picture at the 2026 Academy Awards. DiCaprio received his 8th Oscar nomination. 8 nominations. The kid from a 7th-season sitcom, standing in a room that won't stop calling his name. And here's what ties this whole story together. In December 2016, when Thicke passed away, DiCaprio came back. He sat in the same room as Kirk Cameron, Joanna Kerns, Tracy Gold, and Jeremy Miller. The Seavers, together one more time. Not for a reunion special. For the man who let them all in. Today, at 51, Leonardo DiCaprio is more striking now than ever. He's an Oscar winner, an environmental advocate, and one of the most respected actors of any generation. But once, he was just a teenager with nothing, standing on a porch in Long Island, hoping someone would open the door. Someone did. But we can't close this story without honoring the heart at its center. Thicke didn't just play a father. He wrote the music that welcomed us home. The theme songs to Different Strokes and The Facts of Life came from his pen. A Golden Globe nomination came from his talent. And a place on Canada's Walk of Fame came from a career that never stopped giving. Thicke left us in 2016, at 69. He once said about Growing Pains, loved it, proud of what it stood for. His son Robin carried that pride into music. His castmates carried it into every interview, every reunion, every story they still tell about him. Every rerun is a small hello. 7 seasons, 1 family. And the kind of feeling you can't manufacture. Growing Pains didn't try to be perfect. It just tried to be honest. That's why it still matters. The Seaver kitchen is still standing somewhere in our memory. Ben is still screaming. Carol is still studying. And somewhere, Alan is still making everyone laugh between takes. So let me ask you this. When you think of the Seavers, where were you? The living room floor, a parent nearby, a school night you didn't want to end. I'd love to read that memory. There are more families like this one waiting. More faces, more stories, more Tuesday nights we used to know. Until next time, take care of that feeling.